This is how the music, news, and television industry feels right now. We live in disruptive times. During the next few minutes, you'll find out what brought our music, news, and television culture to where it is now, what part of this culture is worth saving, and how this future will be created by the web. But before we begin, we need to know a little bit more about what the web is to us and how it was built. This is the closest that we have come to really understanding how big the web is. It is a map that shows how everyone is connected to one another through the internet. There are now 2 billion of us on the web. 1 in 3 people in the world is connected to the most powerful communication device that history has ever known. We use it to connect with our friends, upload and download pictures, work, read breaking news, interact with our government, perform research, and share our dreams, disappointments, and accomplishments. The web is infrastructure. It is now as important as our roads, public water lines, telephone networks, and energy transmission cables. We build institutions on these foundations. It is simultaneously starting to revolutionize our way of life while destroying old and outdated institutions. The web is many great things to us. Its design affects our culture. What used to be a letter, a photograph, or phone call is now a status update through a social network. This new medium has changed our very behavior. These are pictures of a handful of the people that designed the infrastructure for the web. We are the World Wide Web Consortium, the Internet Engineering Task Force, and the browser and web server technologists. It is our job to make sure that the technology that we deploy not only works at web scale, but that it also supports the prosperity of global human culture. There are around 2,500 of us. Most of us are volunteers that care deeply about the impact of the web. We want it to be something that will help society better communicate, innovate, and flourish. We have made great progress in the past 30 years. Today, there are 2 billion people that can use the internet to send email, instant messages, pictures, video, voice chat, and perform a variety of other impressive feats. Each one of these technologies required us to build infrastructure. We call that infrastructure Internet standards. Much of the web's infrastructure that we rely upon today started out as an internet standard in the 1970s, 80s, and 90s. Like any other infrastructure, it is a long-term investment. So, here's the problem. The web grew faster than any of us could have imagined. So fast, in fact, that we were unable to build vital infrastructure before it was needed. You may have realized that many journalists, television studios, and musicians are terrified of the web. They have seen institutions that have been around for more than a century crumble in less than a decade. Getting music, television, and news in front of people no longer requires their infrastructure, because the web has provided a replacement. While many people like these changes, there is still one massive infrastructure hole that the standards community has not fixed for over a decade. Consider this. If you want to send an email to the other side of the world, you open your email client, type out an email, and hit send. Now, if you want to do the same thing with money, for example, send a penny to the other side of the world, you can't do it. Why is that? Why is it so easy to send an email to the other side of the world, but so difficult to send a penny? The problem is that we haven't built the infrastructure to allow that yet, and that is a massive multi-billion-dollar problem. We told people that the web is going to revolutionize the way that they work, and then didn't build the infrastructure to support journalists, musicians, artists, and other professions that need to make a living from their craft. It's as if we have to go through the same obstacle course, which is filling out our credit card information every time money is involved on the web. Imagine if we had to fill out our credit card information when we send an email. It sounds ridiculous, but this is usually what happens when we want to give someone a few pennies on the web. Now, the point isn't to make everything on the internet paid content. In fact, much of what you see on the web today will remain free. The goal is to provide incentives for people to create more great stuff for the web. Think of a web page from one of your favorite writers. This isn't just anyone on the web. It's somebody that you really want to support. How much should they get paid for their work? You probably read many web pages per day, so the amount that you're willing to pay is only a few cents. Typing in your credit card information to spend a few pennies is time-consuming, and hardly anyone wants to do that. Because of this, the writer would rarely get anything for their hard work. Even if you were willing to type out your credit card information to send a few pennies, it would cost you roughly 5 times as much as the amount that you are sending. This is called transactional friction, and friction is wasteful because the person that you want to pay is only getting a small fraction of the payment. Now think of the number of websites that you visit on a daily basis. What if each of these sites were to set up a paywall? That is, you can't see the web page without purchasing a subscription. New sites are thinking of doing just this in the coming years. If each of them charges around $12 a month in subscription fees, and you get your news from 4 different sites, that's around $48 a month that you would be paying for your news. That just doesn't make sense for many people. The fact is that none of us use the web like this. If we see that we have to pay anything, we go somewhere else that has the content for free. But what if we wanted to support the website? What if there was a writer or a director that we loved and wanted to support on a regular basis? What if they only wanted pennies? After all, pennies from a large audience add up quickly. The good news is that there's a group of us working on building the technologies required to help people make a living from the web. It's called PaySwarm. We would like it to become a royalty-free, open internet standard. That is, we want it to become a fundamental part of the web. PaySwarm will eventually power the websites for artists, writers, directors, journalists, and others that have come to depend on the web to make a living. Here's how it works. Basically, PaySwarm works like a prepaid debit card that you assign to each website that you trust. You can limit how much they can spend by only placing a fixed amount of cash on each card. You can create as many of these debit cards as you'd like. When you decide to pay for an article, the debit card is used to charge you a few pennies. You remain in full control and can make the website check with you every time that you're going to spend any money. You can also trust the website to charge you the right amount per page and not bother you for each purchase. As an added protection, you can revoke the debit card at any time, for any reason. Basically, you stay in control of your money and the website owner can earn a living by charging a few pennies for their content. So, the problem has been identified and there's a clear path forward. The organizations that build the infrastructure for the web need to support the development of this technology. Unfortunately, those that make standards have not yet addressed this problem, and that is a real danger to our cultural foundation. In order to support a culture of rewarding those that innovate on the web, we must fix this problem. Universal payment must become a core part of the web's infrastructure. We need to work together and ensure that this vital infrastructure is built. We know that the web has transformed our culture. We believe that the web will transform the way we reward each other. This cannot happen until real progress towards universal web payment is a reality. And this is where you come in. You don't have to be a programmer or a technologist to help. We need writers, artists, designers, and people that are passionate about creating for the web. Join us and add your voice to the growing number of people that care about the future of rewarding innovation on the web. You can learn more about joining the community at payswarm.com. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and I hope that you join us in ensuring that people can make a living by distributing their work through the web.